Hello everybody, and welcome back to Certified Collectibles. Today we're going to be taking a look at some rare titles for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Now all these games are going to be sealed quality and graded by Wata. All these games are also the top grade or the finest known copies that exist, and the only copy of each individual title that we've seen on the market in the last 5 years. Now I think it's important to note, and I think it's important for collectors and investors to remember that everybody is currently chasing all these popular titles. You know, the Mario Brothers, the Legend of Zelda, the Final Fantasy, all these titles that everyone is familiar with. It's getting all the buzz on social media and is receiving all the super high realized prices in auction. These are the games that everyone's going after right now. All the investors and collectors are focused on those games right now, and all the newcomers into the video game space are going after those popular titles, the ones that are getting all the buzz. But a lot of these rare titles, a lot of the titles that you may have not seen that much through the years, all these are slipping through the cracks. A lot of rare titles here that only maybe 3 or 4 or 5 games have been graded by Wata to date, and not many exist in high grade, and very, very few exist sealed at all. So a lot of these rare titles are slipping through the cracks and prices that are tremendously far under market. So a lot of these are undervalued right now, and you know, when in the years to come, when everybody already has all the popular games, when those games are already in everybody's collection, everybody's going to start going after the rare titles, the ones that no one else has. They're going to be looking for the finest known or the highest graded in those titles. So keep an eye out for rare titles that, you know, you don't see that often. Some that, you know, are the only 1 or 2 graded by Wata. Some of these titles that are really obscure, you know, those are ones to think about adding to your collection for the long term, especially long-term investors, because once all the popular titles are absorbed, you know, everybody already has them, they're going to start going after these rare titles, the ones that nobody else has. So we picked out 5 rare Nintendo Entertainment System game titles today to show you guys, to give you an example of what you may be considering, you know, what you should consider adding to your collection, or what to keep an eye out on the market. So we picked out 5. Let's go ahead and get started in the order of release to the public, starting in 1989. The first game is To the Earth. Now this game was used with the NES Light Zapper. This came out in 1989. This is a 9.48++ game from the Carolina Collection. Those of you who are familiar with the pedigrees from Wata, Indiana Collection came first. I think the Carolina Collection was the second pedigree they recognized. And both these collections, the Indiana and the Carolina Collection, some of the finest known, highest grade games that are ever known to come to market. So if you find a game from the Carolina Collection or the Indiana Collection, these are going to be some of the finest games, you know, that ever come to market. So keep an eye out for those pedigrees. Now this game here, To the Earth, you're playing, it's a space shooter. Like I said, you use the NES Light Zapper. A lot of these late release games that use the Light Zapper peripheral device, they kind of went undersold when they came out. People kind of got a little tired of the Light Zapper games like Duck Hunt, Hogan's Alley. Those are super popular. Everybody's still after those. But some of the late release Light Zapper games, you know, people started losing interest to the late 80s, early 90s. So a lot of these went undersold. So to find a sealed copy today is very, very tough. So to find a game like this, To the Earth, a Light Zapper game, sealed in sealed quality and high grade, a 9.48++, going to be near impossible. And this game here was actually kind of tough when it came out. The spacecraft, your enemies, move very quickly and very randomly. So you have to have some quick reflexes and some good aim to shoot them. So it wasn't tremendously popular. Therefore, a lot of people didn't buy it. A lot of people didn't own it. A lot of people didn't keep it sealed in their collection. So keep an eye out for these types of games. To the Earth, 9.48++. If you see one of those on the market, consider adding that one to your collection. Second game is also a 1989 release, Metal Fighter. Now this is a 9.48+, a game from the Indiana Collection. As I mentioned before, Indiana and Carolina Collection are some of the finest known games on market, so keep an eye out for those pedigrees. Now this is an unlicensed game. A lot of people did not buy unlicensed games in the 80s and 90s. This is from 1989, same year as To the Earth. A lot of people didn't buy these unlicensed games, and so a lot of people didn't collect them. So over the years, a lot of these unlicensed games just kind of disappeared, thrown away, opened, played. A lot of them were not kept sealed. So if you have any of these unlicensed games, they're going to be super rare in today's market. A lot of people don't collect the unlicensed versions. They only collect the Nintendo Entertainment System sealed quality games. But the unlicensed games, because nobody really cared about them, they're becoming very scarce on the market, very rare titles, very rare to see graded and high grade in sealed quality. So this is one, a title like this is one you want to keep your eye out for. Now Metal Fighter, this particular game, you play a robot that's trying to, I think, save planet H-17 from an alien invasion. So you control the robot to defeat your enemies. Very typical shooter game for the time period. But like I said, very rare to find this game sealed and sealed quality and high grade. Any games like this, any of the unlicensed games, very tough to find. So one to keep your eye out for, or games similar to this. So our third game is one that some of you are going to recognize. Time Lord. Now this is a 9.4A, also from the Carolina Collection. This is a side-scrolling action platformer. Now this is developed by Rare and published by Milton Bradley. Now a lot of people just collect specific production games such as Milton Bradley, Atlas, Activision. A lot of people just go after specific branded games for their collections. So Milton Bradley is also one of those games a lot of people go after. So the Milton Bradley games is very, very hot, very highly collected. So if you find the Milton Bradley games in sealed quality from the 80s and 90s, definitely add those to your collection. They're very tough to find. Now this game here came out in 1990. Like I said, this is a tough game to find sealed. I think you're playing a character. He can go back in time. He's trying to stop aliens from altering the course of human history. I think the aliens are trying to weaken human civilization in historical times. So in present day, they can defeat humanity and take over the earth. So your job is to go back and defeat all the aliens. Fun game, super fun game back then. Still fun to play today. Super, super tough to find this game sealed in high grade. So if you do find one of these, definitely consider adding this to your collection. Very hard to find sealed. Like I said, Milton Bradley games, everyone is still collecting, everyone's still after, everybody still loves this brand. So consider adding these to your collection if you do find them sealed. So game number 4. Now this is one that a lot of you are going to recognize. Ultimate Air Combat, released in 1992. Now this is a Wata 9.2 B+. We don't usually have B+ games in our investment portfolio, in our collection, but we picked up a B+ because this is the only sealed copy that we've seen in the last 5 years. We thought we'd never find an A, so we picked up the B+. And to this date, we have never found another one. So very tough game to find sealed. A game that was very popular when it came out. Everybody played this game, so you don't find these games sealed very often. Now this here is a very realistic flight simulator, and it's also an Activision game. Now once again, Activision games are very similar to the Milton Bradley games, where people really, really go after the Activision titles. And this is a late release Activision title, so super low production run on the Activision titles in the early 90s. This is from 92, like I mentioned. So by 92, Activision was not producing a lot of quantity of their games. So each title is definitely more lightly produced than earlier games. And these late release Activision titles, super popular, super hot right now. Everybody's after the late release Activision titles. So Ultimate Air Combat, one to consider adding to your collection if you can find it. Very, very tough game to find sealed. Very cool game. You're playing a military pilot that has to make strategic airstrikes on enemy military base. Very realistic, considered one of the most realistic flight simulators of the time. Tough to find sealed. Late release Activision game. Consider adding this one to your collection if you can find it. Very tough to find sealed. And now for the last game in today's video is one that a lot of you are familiar with. Dragon Fighter. Now this is a Wata 9.4A. This game is almost impossible to find sealed. This is actually considered one of the top 10 rarest games overall for the Nintendo Entertainment System. So trying to find one of these sealed is going to be pretty tough. This is the only one we've seen in the last about 10 years sealed. And now this is a high grade. This is 9.4A. This is the highest grade we've seen of this game sealed. I think we saw a CIB earlier in this year in 2020, but it sold for about $600-700. So sealed ones, expect to pay a pretty penny for these. Like I said, one of the top 10 rarest games for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Very tough to find. You're playing a fighter that can change or morph into a dragon to help defeat his enemies. So very cool game. It's a fantasy side-scroller. You know, this is one that super, super popular amongst collectors. Impossible to find sealed. So if you do find one sealed, pick this one up, add it to your collection. It's going to be very, very tough to find later on. So those are our 5 titles that we picked for today's video of the rare Nintendo Entertainment System games. We are going to post more videos in the future of some more rare titles for the Nintendo Entertainment System. So if you didn't see one today that you think we should add, definitely drop some comments in the comment section below, but it might also appear in one of our future videos. Please give us a thumbs up if you like the video, and as always, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you for joining us here at Certified Collectibles, and we'll see you again next time.